So welcome to today's session. It's a Collaboard 101 about how to collaborate smarter and more visually with the online whiteboard. My name is Michael Gurek. I'm a co-founder of Collaboard, and today in this webinar we will introduce you to a Collaboard. And if you have questions, feel free to add them to the chat as we are having a Q&A session at the end. So we will answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. So if you have a question, let us know in the chat, and then we will follow up after the main presentation. What are we going to do today? What's on the agenda? First of all, we will look together at the basics of Collaboard. Then we will check on how to collaborate in real time. How does this work here in the online whiteboard? We will focus on some top use cases like brainstorming, project planning, and workshops. We will have a look at the advanced features and the customization options of Collaboard. And then, in case you're already familiar with online whiteboards and using another tool, we will also tell you why to switch to Collaboard or what could be a good reason why to start with our solution and how would this work. So this is on the agenda for today. Now we will start right away with the basics of Collaboard. So Collaboard is a secure cloud-based whiteboard for real-time collaboration. It is easy to use. It provides you with an infinite whiteboard canvas. And as you might hear from my accent, I'm from Switzerland, and Collaboard is also a Swiss-made software. So this is just first information. Now let's have a look at some key basics of Collaboard. So we'll check out together how to create a new board. We will look at some key tools. We will also check out the infinite canvas and what does this mean. And we will look at some of the 150 pre-prepared templates we have in Collaboard. So let's start on how to create a new board. What I'm doing at the moment, I'm already inside a whiteboard, which I'm using for the presentation in your webinar. So what I'm doing now here, I'm leaving this whiteboard, getting here to the cockpit. This is basically the overview. So every user has his own space where he or she sees all the whiteboards he has created. So here we see the last 7 whiteboards with a thumbnail. And then below, I also have them in a list where I can search for them, and so on. That's basically the place where you manage all the whiteboards you create. Now, how can you create a new one? In the end, that's super easy. You just click here on create a new project. And then we say here, my first board. Now I can create this board. In our case here, we're creating a blank board. We have an activity logbook enabled that basically tracks all the activities on the whiteboard. We also have the feature to be able to create versions enabled. And what we see here below, that's something which can be customized. That's basically a data security disclaimer, which organization can show the users so they know or they are informed which kind of data they should put on the whiteboard or not. So in this case, you need to check it here. We click on Create Project, and now we are firing up a blank whiteboard. So it's super easy, and as soon as you're on the whiteboard, you can start working with all the elements we have here on the left side. And to show you that, I'm switching back. So what I'm doing now, I'm going back to the cockpit, and I'm opening the board which we have used before. And now the cool thing is I'm entering that board at exactly the same location where I have left it. So first thing, we showed how to create a new board. And the next thing is that we check out some key tools. So I would like to introduce you to the sticky notes, to the drawing tools, to shapes and text, also images, videos, audio. We will have a look at how it works with PDF files in Collaboard, and we will also check a little bit how to zoom and pan and organize objects on the whiteboard. So let's start with the sticky notes and the drawing tools. So let me just go down here a little bit like that. So on the left side here, you find the toolbar. And basically this toolbar allows you to add objects to the whiteboard. In our case here, we can choose sticky notes. We have here the option to add a squared or a rectangle sticky note. Let's just add here one. And now, after adding the sticky notes, we can start to brainstorm, write down our ideas. And as I said at the beginning, Collaboard is super intuitive. So it means as soon as you have understood how to add sticky notes, you know how to add text shapes, upload documents, and so on, in the end, it works always the same. As soon as you have selected an object, you see here this toolbar, and this toolbar allows you now to customize things. For example, maybe we want to change the color of the sticky note, we want to format the text, and so on. So this is the way how you change then attributes of these objects you have on the whiteboard canvas. So this is how you add sticky notes. So it's super simple. And when you want to use the drawing tools, you find them here on the upper right. And here we provide you with 5 different pens. So you have like a nib, you have a highlighter, you have a standard pen, a pencil, and so on. So in the end, I'm using now a computer with my mouse. So I can use here the drawing tool to draw something directly on the board. And maybe not all the people are super gifted in drawing, or as I'm using Collaboard now on my desktop PC where I don't have a touchscreen with a pen, we also have a solution for that, as we have some pre-drawn templates, which I will show a little bit later. So sticky notes and drawing, that's the basic of Collaboard. That's the super simple first functionalities people usually learn when they start with Collaboard. But now you can populate the whiteboard canvas with many other things. For example, it's possible to add documents. And I added here a document, which is basically a document that describes what is Collaboard. So in our case, it's a PDF. And you see now when I'm selecting this PDF, you see here below, you see you also got now this toolbar for this object. And as the PDF is a little bit different than a sticky note, you can do also different things here. So first of all, on that PDF, we can browse through the pages, which is somehow quite nice, right? But what you can do as well, you can also extract these pages. So let's say we want to extract page 1 and let's say 2 to 3. So if you're doing this, then Collaboard is extracting these pages on the left side, and this allows you to visualize documents on the whiteboard. And there are some very nice use cases where this helps a lot. So imagine you're working on a project where you have a lot of files. And these files, these documents are in folders and subfolders and so on. So it's quite difficult to get an overview about all the documents related to the project and what to do with them, right? So what you can do, you can upload all of these documents to Collaboard. As we have this infinite canvas, it can be 10, 20, 100 documents, doesn't really matter in the end. And then you can extract all the pages. And this is very similar to the way when you would have printed them out and mounted them to the wall. So this is here the idea of visualizing this content on the whiteboard. And now, of course, features like the drawing tool come into place, because you can, for example, use here the highlighter to highlight now things that are important. So you can use the drawing tools together with the documents and so on. So this is the way how we work with documents. Adding them, it's super easy. Most of the users just do drag and drop them from the file system to Collaboard, and it's already there. Then we also support other kind of media, so we will find them here. So we have seen we can add documents, but we also have the option to add images. We can add images from our file system. We can take a picture with the camera if you want, or we can also use a web search. So now in our case, let's just search for Collaboard. Now we get here an image, and what we're doing is we're dragging the image from the search result directly onto the board. And now we see again, the image has a little bit different elements here. For example, I can flip the image in different direction. I can also crop the image if this is something I would like to do. Let's make it a little bit smaller, and so on. So basically, on the image element, you find other other features than on the sticky notes or on the documents. And we thought, okay, let's think about Collaboard as a visual collaboration tool. So images are super visual, but there is something that's even more visual than images, and this is videos. So this is the reason why we allow the users to upload videos directly to Collaboard. And what I have done here, I uploaded a video directly to the whiteboard. And so you see in this case, this is now a video directly played on the whiteboard itself. You can either do it like this, or you can also embed videos from your streaming service, from YouTube or whatever, and bring them into live on Collaboard. So these are some of the basic tools we have here. So we have seen the sticky notes, the drawing tools, shapes. You find the shapes here. So here we have all the standard shapes, and you can easily add them to the board as well. So adding a shape works like this. I'm just selecting the shape. Let's add now a circle here. Then again, as it's a shape, we have a border color, a fill color, and so on. So here we have also a lot of other options which are dependent on the object itself. We have seen that we can add images. We can also use videos. If we go to media again, there is also the option to record an audio message and put an audio message onto the whiteboard. You can also upload an MP3 file. So here we just cover the full palette of medias which you can usually run in a web-based application. We have seen how it works with PDFs. It's exactly the same way with Word, with PowerPoint, and with Excel. So you can upload all these kind of documents to Collaboard and then use them to work on them in a more visual way. Now, the last part here about the key tools, it's also the zooming and the panning on the board. So this is the way how you navigate from left to right, from top down, and so on. And here below, you see the zoom level. So this indicates how close or far away you're on the whiteboard. So if I'm zooming in a lot, you see now I'm at 370%. I can also zoom out a lot, and then I'm going lower and lower. But we don't do this because this would reveal now the whole story we're going to check together. So I will show you how to zoom out at the end of our webinar. Last thing here, the object organization. So let's say we have here these sites, and somehow they are a little disorganized. So in this case, what I can do, I can always multi-select these elements. So just select all of them. And now you see here I have all these alignment options you might also know from other tools. So in our case, we maybe look for a better distribution. And now we can also bring them exactly to the vertical top and so on. So you have here these tools, how to organize things on the whiteboard. So these are the key tools. Now let's talk a few minutes about the templates. So when you start with Collaboard, you always create either a blank project or you start based on the templates. And we have around 150 plus templates which are ready to use. So there are templates for strategy and planning, for agile working, ideation, drawing, and so on. And you're finding the templates here. So we have here the category of official templates. So let's say we would like to do something about strategy and planning. So we can go to this category. Now we see here impact effort metrics, we see roadmap, weekly planner, value proposition canvas, and so on. So you find usually the templates into these categories. And what I was telling you before when showing the drawing tools, we also have these drawing templates where you find some banners, speech bubbles, signs, which you can use and put directly onto the whiteboard. Of course, the templates you're providing are super useful, but maybe they don't fit your case 100%. So in this case, you can also change them. So all of the templates are customizable, and you can also create your own templates. So every user has a library of personal templates, and adding a personal template is something super easy. Let's say we would like to add this part here as a personal template. We just say save as a template. We say this is our test. We select it's a personal one. I'm doing this. And as soon as it's saved, you see here is now my template, and I can reuse these elements all the time on the whiteboard and also on other whiteboards. On the second level, there are also the organizational templates. So this is basically something the organization can do and provide to all the users inside the organization. These are some of the basics about Collaboard. Now let's look on how to collaborate in real time. So we will check on how to invite other people to the board, that we also have live cursors, and we will look at chatting and commenting. Now, how do we invite other people to the board? So basically, we can share the board with a link. That's the most easiest way, and I will show you in a few seconds how this works. And then the other people, they can either join as users, which means they need to create an account in Collaboard, or they can also join as guests. In this case, they're just clicking on the link and join the whiteboard as a guest. Now, how do I invite other people to Collaboard? So this works like that. We have here on top this sharing icon. And now I can invite registered users. So these are the people with an account. And I can assign the permissions, if they should have only viewer permissions on the board, if they shall be editors or facilitators, and so on. I have also the option that I can invite the guest users. And for the guest users, I can define if they shall be able to view the content or if they shall be able to collaborate on the things on the whiteboard as well. So this means giving them editor permissions. Then there is an expiration date, and I can also protect my board with a password if this is something I would like to do. So after doing these settings, I just click here on next. Now I have this link. And most of the people share this link in an email, during the chat, in a video conference, or whatever. That's the most common way how to bring other people to the whiteboard. There's another option. You can invite people by email. You can create a QR code. People can, for example, scan them with their mobile device, or you can even create an embedding code to embed a Collaboard inside another web-based application. Now, when people are on the same board, then the following things are happening. So in our case here now, we have a second user, which is here Michael. Well, basically it's me again, but from another device. So now we see here my mouse pointer moving around. So that's one thing which indicates the user presence directly on the whiteboard. And then if I'm changing something like the color on that sticky notes, you see this is happening, everything in real time. I can also add a comment. So I'm just doing this now on my other device. So we see here the comment. We can open that one, and then we can use this as a chat. So, hey, how are you? Then we're getting this here, and Michael is answering, I am good. Thanks. And then we see this here as well in real time. So all the actions, everything that's happening on the whiteboard, either if you create a sticky note, if you change the color, if you move something around, like I'm doing this here, everything is happening in real time with almost no delay. Let's think about a scenario where you collaborate with others, and maybe you're doing a brainstorming session and you see a very great new idea for someone. Then you have also here the option to do some celebration. So you can say, oh, that's a cool idea. And in this case, we see some emojis flying over the board. Or if Michael is doing that, then we see here these reactions that allow you to provide also silently real-time feedback to the activities happening on the board. Yeah, that's the most important things about the real-time collaboration. And maybe another important information, you can enable or disable this mouse pointer. So at the moment, it's just one user on the board. So in this case, it's super useful to have the mouse pointer, because then you know where the user is on the board. If there are 100 people or 200 people on the same board, which is also possible, then in this case, you might want to disable them, because otherwise you get distracted by the mouse pointers that are flying like mosquitoes around the board. So this is something we don't want in this case. So you can always enable and disable this based on your needs. So this is about real-time collaboration. Now we will have a look at top use cases with Collaboard. So for today's webinar, I picked brainstorming, project planning, and workshops. And while going into these use cases, I also would like to show you some other features and some things you can use to fulfill that use case. So these are some very useful things here as well. So let's just go down a little bit more, because we need more space. And as we have infinite space on the whiteboard, we just scroll to another area on the board. So let's talk about brainstorming. Brainstorming, it's maybe one of the most prominent use cases for the online whiteboard. And especially if new users are starting with Collaboard, one of the first things they are doing is brainstorming. And brainstorm, of course, is done with sticky notes, like you have done it in the real world. You can do it now in the digital world. And we have some nice features, which I will show you, like a timer, which is useful to basically time bomb a brainstorming session, because maybe it doesn't make sense that everybody is adding for hours ideas to the board. Maybe you want to limit this to a few minutes. This is something possible. And then we will also check the voting and rating system that is integrated in Collaboard, because this allows you to gather feedback super quickly, and Collaboard is doing the math for you. So, but one step after another. What I have done here, I added a brainstorming template. So that's just a set of sticky notes where people now can just start writing in their ideas. Before I'm starting the brainstorming session, I can start here the timer. So we could do it for 5 minutes, but we can also say we want to do 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And then we start the timer, which means now every user sees, okay, this timer is running down. And as soon as the time is up, there is an acoustic signal informing the people, hey, the time is up, please stop adding more ideas. Let's discuss them, for example. So this is here something super useful. This is the timer. And let's make another example, and let's add here another idea. Let's change the color of these 3 sticky notes so we can do our voting session in a nice way. So let's say we would like to figure out now which idea is the best. And maybe it's not just 2 users, as in my case on the board, maybe it's 50 users. And it can be very time consuming to do this in a discussion. Of course, you can always say when you discuss an idea, oh, I love that. But that's just an emotional feedback and not really quantitative feedback. Now, what we can do here in Collaboard is we have an integrated voting and rating system. So we can start here a new voting and say, okay, let's talk about the best idea. Now we have 2 ways to do this. We can do it with voting. Say everybody has, for example, 4 votes, and then the people can distribute the votes on the objects on the whiteboard. That's one way, and that's a very common way. So for today, I would like to show you the other way. This is the rating, which is one of my favorites. So basically in here, the users don't have a number of votes to associate with objects, but they can rate ideas from 0 to 5 stars. So let's start doing this here. So now I can just click on the idea. So let's do it like this. And imagine I'm always the facilitator. And as you have seen before, I'm logged in with a second user as well. So we see now Michael also starts voting here on the elements. And you see now, okay, here we have 2 votes and so on. So now we see, okay, this is the result of our voting session. If we stop the voting session now, nobody can continue voting on the objects. And we have here now a voting archive that shows us which idea has won. And in our case, the idea 4 got 4 stars, the idea yellow got 3.5 stars, and so on. So that's a very nice way to collect feedback quickly during after a brainstorming session directly on the whiteboard. So this shortly about the use case brainstorming. Now let's have a look at the second use case I want to present to you today, And this is basically project planning. So we all know that project planning can happen in complicated project planning tools. Some people are using Excel, Gantt charts, and all these things. So of course they are super useful, but sometimes people want to do it a little bit more visual. And this is especially when the online whiteboard comes into place, because this kind of product, Collaboard, it's the most visual way of planning a project that's available at the moment in the digital world. And I picked 3 use cases. So the first use case is a Kanban board. I will show you how this looks in Collaboard. The second use case is a roadmap. And then I will also show you which is quite a new feature in Collaboard. It's an option to add text to elements on the board. So let's have a look at the Kanban board. So in our case, I also leveraged one of our templates. So what we see here, we have here a Kanban board with backlog, to do, in progress, testing, and done. And now there is already a predefined set of sticky notes. It's basically a stack of sticky notes where user now can just drag and drop elements directly to the Kanban board in this case. And if we think about something like that, we can, of course, use the colors, for example, to assign tasks to specific people. We can use colors to basically say this task has a high priority, a low priority. Or what we can do as well, and this is what I want to show you, we can also use the new tag feature in Collaboard. So let's go here to these 3 sticky notes and let's assign some priorities. As I have already created these tags before, I'm super fast. I can say that's a high prio, that's a medium prio, and that's a low prio, for example. So you see, this is then something you can do super fast. These tags is something you can set by yourself and you can set for free. So maybe you don't want to use tags just for priority. Maybe you also want to assign this to a certain project. Let's say this is project A. Then you can also do this. And as soon as you have created the tag, you can go on any other element and reuse that tag here on the whiteboard. And the cool thing is you can also search for them. So let's say we would like to know all the high prior things on Collaboard. We just go here to the search on top. And now we can easily jump to these simple objects on the board based on their priority. So this is an idea about a Kanban board here in Collaboard. So this is now just a template we have used. Of course, you can create your own. And you also have here on the left side the option to add tables to the board, which you can then customize and leverage for your own Kanban board or for your own project board and planning. So this is one thing. Now, the other use case I want to show to you, this is more about the visual representation of the phases of a project. And in this case, what I have done here, I added our roadmap template. So this roadmap template shows us now a roadmap starting in 2019 until 2023. So here we could indicate what's happening in this project in every year. And as I said before, you can always change here the elements in this template. So I can just unlock here, for example, the text and say, okay, maybe today we start in 2025, then we go here to 2026, and so on. So in this case, we can also completely adjust here this roadmap. And maybe the roadmap isn't long enough as we have more steps and our project is more complex. Then here we're quite free also to extend it. So in our case, we just extend a little bit the frame. Then we click here on this line. We also extend this one. So you see, you have here a lot of flexibility to adjust the templates based on your needs. And of course, you can build the roadmap completely by yourself as well. So now maybe it's a good time to zoom out a little bit and show you what we have done so far. So this is what we have done so far. And you see, this is also like a path which we are following on the whiteboard. This could be also a roadmap. This could be a project path, or as in my case, I'm using this for a way of presenting content. So this was the second use case I wanted to show you today. And now the last use case is a workshop. Now, you have this infinite whiteboard canvas, right? So you can bring all the people to the board. And one thing that can happen is, as the board is really literally infinite, people might get lost. So you need to get their attention. So one thing you can do is you have here the option to get the attention of other users. If you're doing that, everybody is jumping exactly to the same position on the whiteboard where you are. So this is one thing. Then you can do the brainstorming or the workshop activity together. And another activity is the presentation mode. And I would like to show you how this works. So to do that, we're doing it like this. So we have here now 2 screens of Collaboard. On the left, it's Alice, and on the right is Michael. And now when I'm starting here the presentation mode, which is this one here, the following thing is happening. All the other users are following me on the whiteboard. So maybe we go back to our Kanban board. Maybe we are going back to our roadmap and they're adjusting that. So that's super useful, because when you're doing a workshop and when you do this remotely with a video conference or whatever, you don't need always to share your screen and go back to the whiteboard and so on. So what you can do in this case, you can use here the presentation mode, so all the people will follow you on the board. And another nice feature here is the laser pointer. So you can use the laser pointer to do a temporary annotation. So as soon as you do this annotation, then the other people see, oh, okay, there is something important, and then it disappears again. So this is just an idea on how the presentation mode works. But now the most important thing I would like to tell you for the workshop is this combination of hiding, locking, and pinning content on the whiteboard. So what we have done here, we start very simple. We say we do a SWOT analysis together in the context of a workshop. So I think what's important here is the following. So we lock content. So you see here, this title here is locked because we don't want the other users who are attending our workshop to change that. So we lock it. You can usually also do it via these 3 dots here. Then we can pin content. So let's say we would like to do something very structured. So, so in this case, let's do it like that. I will just add a few more sticky notes. And maybe I don't want the users to move the sticky notes around. So in this case, we can just select all of them and we pin them to the whiteboard. And if something is pinned, you can't move it around, but you can still edit content, as in our case, write down ideas. So we have the lock, which basically locks everything. You can't do it. If you pin it, people cannot move it. So this preserves the structure of your board, prevents a little bit the chaos. And then we have these 2 things. And the third one is, let's imagine you prepare a big board for your workshop. Then you might not want that all the users from the beginning see all the activities. So what you can do in this case, you can also select the whole activity, and then you can hide it. As I'm here, the facilitator, I'm still seeing part of it. It's a little bit grayed out or transparent, while the other users, your workshop attendees, don't see this content at all. So, and then you can just select it again and reveal it when you're ready to do this activity. So that's super useful when doing an online workshop with Collaboard. Yeah, these were the 3 top use cases: brainstorming, project planning, and doing a workshop in Collaboard. And now, as the next chapter, we check the advanced feature, and some customization option. So I would like to start with mind mapping. So mind mapping is something you can do in a very nice way on the online whiteboard. And in Collaboard, there are basically two ways how to create a mind map. And the first option is that we can leverage here the mind map module. So we're just clicking here on the board after selecting the mind map module. And now you see we can super easily start to create here a mind map, as you might know this also from other tools. What's also cool is you can use keyboard shortcuts as well to create here the mind map. It's very flexible. So let's say we would like to change a little bit the text here, so we can make it bolder, we can make it maybe even bigger, we can change the font. So maybe you remember at the beginning when I told you Collaboard is very intuitive, and as soon as you have understood how to work with a sticky note, you also can work with a node in the mind map, because in the end, it's exactly the same. You select the object, you get this context menu, and then you can do something with it. So looking at this mind map, we can do many more things with that. I just wanted to give you the idea that you can create here a mind map inside Collaboard. You can change it a little bit. You can also change the orientation, and then use the mind map tool also for org charts to visualize processes and so on. So this is option one, how to create a mind map in Collaboard. On the other hand, and let me add maybe 3 sticky notes just to give you the idea. On the other hand, you also have the option to connect objects on the whiteboard with each other, meaning you can also create a mind map consisting of all the whiteboard objects, which could be a PDF, an image, a video, a shape, or whatever. So when you usually select one of these objects, then you see these 4 dots here on the side, and this allows you now to create a connection. So you see we're going to something very similar. This can be also used to visualize a process and so on. And now these things stay connected. So what we can do here as well, we just select the lines, and then we get the line context menu. And in this case, we can also make the line a little bit, we can adjust it. We can have arrows at the beginning. We can have circles at the start and so on. So that's quite flexible and allows us to create a mind map, but also go into activities like visualizing processes, visualizing workflows inside the software, and so on. So this is what I wanted to show you about mind mapping. Now, there is also an option to export the board. You can either export a section of the board, you can export the complete board, and you can do this as an image, a PDF, or a CSV file. Now, in our case, I would like to show you how to do the export of the complete board. So you can click here on Export Project. Now we can select Image, you can select the PDF, or you can select CSV. If you do a CSV export, then you will get the whole board and all the content in a table. If you, for example, select the PDF, we can also select the format of a PDF, and we have the option to divide our board in multiple PDFs in case you want to print it out. That's a very nice way how to do that. So exporting is something people usually do at the end of a session. So you create a static image or PDF of the whiteboard activities, which you can easily share by email or store somewhere on your internal file system. So that's one way how to use the export. And the last thing I would like to show you here now is also the branding option. So Collaboard allows you to leverage your own corporate identity. So meaning you can use your own logo inside Collaboard. So all the people of your organization recognize, oh, okay, that's our Collaboard, that's branded, right? You can also change the default colors. So you see here a predefined color sets for the sticky notes, but that's the same for text, or then for the shapes as well. So if you're adding here a shape, then you see here also this same color set. So what you can do, you can also change the default colors. So you can make sure that all the people in your organization use the colors you want them to use, and an administrator can set this. And then what's also very cool is you can upload custom fonts. So in our case here, for example, I have a very nice snow font, which fits to the winter. So this is a custom font which I uploaded, and I think it's quite nice. And dependent on how you use Collaboard, you can use these funny fonts. But of course, initially the idea was that if your organization has a standard font set they are using in the PowerPoint documents and wherever, in this case you can also upload this font to your board and then use it there. So everything that is created on the whiteboard is compliant with your CI/CD guidelines. Yeah, so this is what I wanted to show you in Collaboard. Now the question, why to switch to Collaboard? So first and most importantly, Collaboard is a very secure online whiteboard. So we provide GDPR compliant hosting with servers in Germany, in Switzerland, or in Europe. So basically you as a customer, you can choose where you want to have your data hosted. And in case you don't want to have your whiteboard data in the cloud, you can also go for on-premise hosting, or you can host Collaboard in your private cloud. And the way the solution is designed, it ensures highest data protection. So that's super important for us. So there are a lot of customization features that allow you to increase the level of security if you want that. We have a very attractive licensing model. For example, guest users are completely for free, and also the pricing it's moderate and fair. So this is a reason why to switch to Collaboard. And then we thought for us it's super important to communicate very transparent with the users. So we have a public roadmap and we have regular updates. So basically every 6 weeks, there are new features and improvement coming to the product. So for us, it's important to be innovative and continue to make Collaboard one of the best or even the best online whiteboard available on the market. Yeah, now we would have some time for questions and answers. Of course, first of all, thanks everyone for joining today. In case you haven't tried Collaboard yet, you can try it for free. Just go to our website, www.collaboard.app, and create your free account. In case you want to learn more about the hosting, customization options, or get a deep dive into Collaboard, feel free to book a personal demo, either with me or with one of the sales teams. In the follow-up email, we will drop you the calendar link where you can book a demonstration.